Tell us 5 things we should know about you and your career. Highlights, interests, awards, and job title.
I played on Reba McEntire's first #1 single when I was a student at Belmont. I played her first top 5 record before that, and then her first #1 single. I was in a Christian rock band called Whiteheart. I was in another Christian rock band called Dogs of Peace with you and Jimmy Lee Sloas and John Hammond. I've won 2 Grammy Awards.
For what?
One was for Song of the Year, Eric Clapton, Changed the World, that I co-wrote with Tommy Sims and Wayne Kirkpatrick. And then the second time was for an album I co-produced with Peter Frampton that won Best Pop Instrumental Album. And the album title was Fingerprints. Is that 5? Is that 4?
Close to 5.
If you could go back to the beginning of when your career really started to take off, what's the one piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
I actually thought about this.
Okay.
I would say I would take my career more seriously than I did and treat it as a business and a career as opposed to, I've just always really enjoyed what I do, so I've always it's just always hanging out with my friends. I just would have planned better for, like saving money and being a smarter business person. You know what I would have done is, at Belmont, I would have, instead of majoring in music, I would have gone into music business because it would have given me stuff that would have been more helpful than, nothing against the music department. It was more helpful than the music major was for me personally. How did you pay your way during the beginning of your career? What helped you budget?
When you get started doing what we do, there's a whole lot of doing things for free that is just necessary. And so you wind up, answering yes to just about everything that somebody asks you to do, just to get your foot in the door, to get the experience, to whatever. But at the same time, though, if you're not making any money, you could be in trouble. But I was fortunate enough to have parents who understood what I was trying to do, especially since my father had done the same thing. And so he kind of knew that, without their help, I would have been in a lot worse off situation. And then, at some point you do the proverbial move into the apartment with, 2 or 3 or 4 other of your peers. And for me, it was Dan Huff and Mark Hurstmel, and so it helped, having somebody share these expenses, and as we're all getting started. And then, the side benefit to that is that at some point, when one of those guys gets pulled into a, hey, we could do this, get paid for it, and we could, all get to sort of go in on the coattails of the one who got the opportunity. So it created opportunities that kind of helped us just survive in those early days when we were trying to get started and doing anything we can just to, to better ourselves and get the experience we needed to keep going. There are hundreds of ways independent musicians and songwriters can spend money in the beginning. What do you feel should be the top priorities in terms of spending for new mid-level players or writers? Where should they be putting their money?
Today's music world, I would say it'd be in wardrobe.
I mean, it's just as a musician,
I spent a lot of money on gear just so that I had the tools I needed to do what people wanted me to do. I mean, that's the biggest thing as far as keeping up with the technology in today's world. That's a big thing. I got a lot of work in the early '90s because there wasn't a lot of keyboard players that had a bunch of synth stuff. It was just country piano player guys that didn't know how to do that. So it was a real benefit for me to have spent money on having gear and stuff like that. I would say investing in having a quality product that you're going to have to sell. I think I was a bit naive in how much money needed to be spent on marketing and other things other than the actual. All I ever cared about was the recorded product. It's a good one for you. What are the top 3 mistakes songwriters make in their writing?
Just some things I've learned along the way would be, like for instance, if a film has asked for a song, to be pitched, sent you away to write a song for a film. If the film is called, Spirit, if you write the song specific to the title, sometimes, you know, it can be that if it doesn't get used in the film, there's no other life
It's never going to
for it because it's too obvious that you wrote it. Spirit might not be the best example, but if it were some other movie title, you know,
Right.
Star Wars. Don't write a song that's called Star Wars because you know what I'm saying. So it's okay. I think what you should do there is instead, you know, do something that captures the essence of what you're trying to convey without using. That would be one mistake I've seen, or I've tried not to make, maybe made it once and realized it immediately following. You can't do that and you shouldn't do that. I'm not sure. Let's see other mistakes. Oh, one that I made early on probably because I was more interested at first in being a guitar player. A musician was sort of the thing that was driving me early on in music, and so when I decided to kind of put my toe in the water and write songs, sometimes it would be solely because I had a guitar part I wanted to play. So I wasn't really writing a song for the right reason. I was just indulging my own.
Right.
Here's what I want to do on guitar. I'll sling a song around this, and you'll love it, right? Wrong. It's not that. That's not the way it should be done. Writing a song, it became a two-part equation for me. Having something to say, and I think everybody has that who starts out to write a song. But the second part of the equation, and I think this may be the third mistake, is when they fail to realize that it's learning how to say it in a way that somebody else would care to hear it.
Hamburger or hot dog?
Hamburger.
Mohawk or mullet? Quick!
I gotta say, I went with the mullet.
I've actually had that myself.
Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Acoustic or electric?
Electric.
You said electric? I think you come into the world acoustic and you probably leave the same way. It's fun in the middle, but yeah, acoustic.
Black or white? Beach or mountains?
Oh my gosh.
Quick!
Mountains.
I don't know. Beach.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Kitties or puppies?
Puppies.
Rain or shine? Quick!
Shine.
Something about rain.
To be or not to be?
Is that your question?
Yeah.
B.
To be.
I don't have a preference.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Coffee.
Cream or sugar?
Both.
Yeah. The cream I use is flavored stuff, so it's
both. You can't separate the
liquid
two.
donut.
House or home?
Home.
Aunt or aunt?
Aunt.
Pecan or pecan?
Pecan.
You guys or y'all?
Y'all.
Soda or pop?
Oh. Dr. Pepper.
Not knee-high
What else
belly
is
washer. Pop's up north, so soda.
I gotta say, I grew up with pop. That's what we never said soda.
Trey, my wife is Pop.
But I never say pop. I haven't said that.
Okay, soda. That's good.
Stones or Beatles?
Beatles.